From subsistence to industrial, farming has taken on a new form in the past 200 years in America. Join us in our journey back in time to see how Americans developed our modern agricultural system. Hello and welcome to PBS. Tonight, we'll show you how our farming complex was developed. I'd like to remind you that this program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.
Modern farming today has taken on a new role in society. We farm to produce goods and sell those goods in a market. Naturally, with progression of technology and lifestyle, farmers only make up 3% of the current population. It was not always this way. Before the creation of America, nearly all colonists were subsistence farmers. Farmers made up nearly 90% of the population. The Plymouth Bay colonists brought with them barley and peas from England and planted it in the New World. Eventually, they made contact with Native Americans and they traded weapons and tools in exchange for corn. During the 18th century, more efficient ways of farming were developed. Charles Newbold patented the first iron plow. By 1790, the cradle and scythe were introduced to gather wheat faster and easier than using a sickle. In 1803, Thomas Jefferson purchased the area of Louisiana for the purpose of expanding United States agriculture. By 1810, New England's subsistence farms were replaced with factories and textile mills as a result of the Industrial Revolution. In 1862, Congress approved the Morrill Land Grant College Act, which granted public universities to receive farmland. This act also allowed for agricultural research. Mark Carleton, a farmer for the U.S. Department of Agriculture, or USDA, went to Russia and brought back a new wheat crop that was resistant to drought. A business that rose in New England during the late 19th century was the Shaker Seed Company. They made and created seeds to sell for people to grow their own food. Between 1860 and 1910, the number of farms in the U.S. increased from 2 million to 6 million. On April 6, 1917, Congress declares war on Germany. The war brought on some benefits for American agriculture. European farmers were taken into military service, creating a demand for food. American farmers took on this role and supplied Europe with grain. New technologies of the time, like the Model T and the tractor, helped grow the industry uncontrollably. With the end of the war, many young men who grew up on the farm witnessed the city life of Paris and moved away from the farms. This brought a decline in farmers. By 1920, only about 30% of the U.S. population were farmers. With it destroyed Europe and Russia, the United States dominated the agriculture market with limited competition. German engineering developed synthetic fertilizer which helped plants grow by adding extra nutrients, which improved output. The war also brought many negative effects. With increased demand, farmers tried to buy each other out to increase profits. Increased technologies and expansion of farms caused an overproduction. Prices declined and many farmers went broke with serious debt. Congress tried to pass the McNary-Haugen Farm Relief Bill, but was vetoed by President Coolidge. Coolidge thought it would be a better investment to modernize farms. The 30s took a huge economic downturn, starting with the market crash of 1929. A drought starting in the Midwest killed many crops, releasing soil. Wind blew around and created a dust bowl. This did not end until 1936. Nothing was fixed until President FDR created the New Deal. He created the Agricultural Adjustment Administration, or AAA, which controlled prices to increase farmer income. They dug up cropland and killed off animals to decrease the supply for the purpose of increasing price. William Vercruysse, a scientist at the University of California, Berkeley, created the fruit cocktail. It was a can of undesirable looking fruit cut up to look appetizing. Its purpose was to increase lifetime of food and get less appealing fruit to be sold in the U.S. We'll be right back to the American Agricultural Revolution. Tonight on PBS at 9, the growing fight in Afghanistan.
It's free. Real estate.
We're giving you land.
It's free. It's real estate. Free. It's a 2-bedroom house. It's free. It's got a pool in the back.
It's free real estate.
I cut a giant hole in another boat.
And now we return to the American Agricultural Revolution. The United States entered World War II requiring massive numbers of manpower. People all over the country enlisted and were drafted. With all the men going to war, there weren't many men left at home doing farming labor. Women were now encouraged to work on the farms and create their own victory gardens. There was such a shortage, Congress allowed draft waivers for farmhands. The food demand was massive because we had to feed our own troops and the people in Europe. In 1970, most farms were struggling. Many had to get off farm jobs to survive. The number of farms were rapidly decreasing. It was no longer a highly profitable industry. By 1950, only 16% or 23.9 million of the U.S. population lived on farms. City life was becoming much more desirable. In 1972, the Soviet Union went into an agricultural crisis. The United States sold 10 million tons of American grain. The U.S. sold this to Russia as humanitarian aid for a low cost of $300 million. This was part of a global crisis on a near depletion of international stock on grain. This deal resulted in increased prices of food in the U.S. In 1973, the cost of food went up on a global stage. With the Soviet Union invasion of Afghanistan, President Jimmy Carter initializes a grain embargo. In result, prices collapsed and many farmers were forced to close doors. The 90s brought new policies that improved government support for funding, prices, and rural development.
Of southeast Oklahoma, 2/3 of which had absolutely no internet access whatsoever, that allow us to be able to bring these services to rural America.
And now we reach our modern time, where agriculture flourishes with the advance of technology. By 2008, there were 2.2 million farms compared to the 5.6 million in 1950. Technology use has increased with the use of sensors to determine how well lands are for growing food. One major change today is the use of genetically modified organisms, or GMOs. Plant seeds are modified to improve the quality of crops like resist bugs, drought, or add nutrients.
Join
Farming
us. Join us.
Complex! This program was made by the...
Made possible by the
Made possible
Corporation
by...
for Public Broadcasting.
The Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
And...
From viewers like
Can't
you.
start sentences with
Thank
and.
you.
And...
By contributions from viewers like you.
Thank you!
And because
Hello, and welcome to PBS. Tonight, we'll show you how our American agriculture system...
If Alan dies in the farms,
Well, no. Will anybody care?
Shut up! From subsistence to
Very
industrial.
nice.
can you
Our modern agricultural system.
PBS?
Oh yeah.
You said
Do it
roll.
again.
Yes.
From subsistence
Wait, God.
back in time. Oh no!
To discover how America's developed their modern agricultural system.
You guys are
Join
Far-
us.